The cabin lights flickered, passengers shifting uneasily in their seats, murmurs rising like distant thunder. The hijackers moved with a chilling confidence, weapons barely concealed, their demands harsh and unrelenting. Panic clutched the passengers' throats. Somewhere in the middle of the chaos, a flight attendant moved calmly, her uniform crisp, her posture composed. But she wasn't just any attendant. She was a Navy SEAL commander, trained to face situations far deadlier than this. And tonight, she would prove it. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who is listening. She scanned the cabin with a practiced eye, noting every movement, every shift in body language, every potential weakness. Her heart beat steadily, though adrenaline surged beneath her calm exterior. Each second was precious. The passenger's fear pressed against the air, thick and suffocating, yet she moved as if part of the storm, rather than swept by it. She thought of their families, of the lives potentially ending if she misstepped. Every calculation, every decision, could be a matter of life or death. The hijackers barked orders, demanding compliance, threats sharp and close. A young child whimpered in the back row. An elderly man's hands shook as he gripped the armrests. She felt a pang, not of fear, but of resolve. She had faced far worse firefights, ambushes, missions where hesitation meant death. But this was different. Here the stakes were not just strategic, were human, immediate, visceral. Her mind raced, tracing every possible scenario. The narrow aisle, the tight quarters, the angle of the hijackers' weapons, all were variables she could exploit. She moved closer under the guise of service, offering water, smiles, reassurances. The hijackers barely noticed. To them, she was nothing more than a flight attendant, invisible, underestimated. She thought of the hours of training, the grueling drills, the endless simulations designed to prepare her for just this kind of unpredictability. Yet nothing could prepare her for the weight of real fear, real lives hanging in the balance. She measured each breath, each movement, balancing caution with necessity. The cabin hummed with tension, the faint whine of engines underlining the imminent danger. Then, in a split second, a decision was made. She moved. Precision born of countless operations guided her every motion. The first hijacker was neutralized silently, a swift, controlled takedown that sent a ripple of confusion through the rest. She moved like water, flowing around obstacles, every passenger shielded, every threat addressed. Chaos erupted, screams blending with the roar of the engines, but she maintained control. Each action was deliberate, each response measured. The other hijackers attempted to regroup, but she anticipated, countered, and neutralized with the expertise of someone who had led missions under far more dangerous skies. The cabin became a battlefield, yet her calm presence turned panic into temporary order, fear into calculated survival. Passengers watched in disbelief, some frozen, some quietly aiding her efforts by moving to safety. Inspired by the sudden surge of protection radiating from her, whispers of awe replaced fear as they realized one among them was orchestrating their rescue. Eyes widened, hands trembled, yet hope ignited. In 90 seconds that felt like eternity, she transformed the cabin from chaos to control. The hijackers were incapacitated, passengers guided to safety, threats neutralized without a single fatality. The roar of the engines, once a backdrop of terror, now underscored triumph and relief. Her team instinctively followed, responding to cues she had laid out with impeccable foresight. She paused, taking a fleeting moment to breathe, surveying the faces of those she had protected. Gratitude, relief, awe, a silent chorus of emotions washed over her. She had done what many thought impossible, turning a life-or-death scenario into a story of survival and courage. Every second of training, every mission she had endured, had culminated in this quiet, heroic act. The moral tension was palpable. The hijackers had no intention of complying. Yet she acted with precision to neutralize them, without unnecessary harm. Decisions weighed heavily, yet her clarity never faltered. She understood that courage was not reckless bravery, but measured action, tempered by ethics and experience. As authorities took control upon landing, passengers slowly processed the ordeal. Few whispered words of thanks, some tearful, some stunned, others simply nodding, their expressions saying what words could not. The flight attendant remained composed, her uniform immaculate, her demeanor calm, yet beneath it, satisfaction mingled with exhaustion. She had protected lives, honored her duty, and preserved the fragile balance between life and chaos. Because true courage doesn't shout, it observes, calculates, and acts when the moment demands. It doesn't wait for recognition. It ensures survival, often in silence, often unseen, yet leaving a mark impossible to ignore. Later, as the cabin emptied, the quiet hum of the plane replaced the chaos. Passengers carrying home stories of fear, hope, and heroism. She walked through the aisle one last time, eyes meeting those who had survived because of her decisions. Each gaze reflected gratitude, disbelief, and a profound respect for the strength hidden behind the calm exterior of a flight attendant. The engines wound down, lights brightened, and life resumed beyond the confines of the aircraft. Yet the impact of her actions would ripple through memories, retold in whispers, headlines, and personal gratitude. One woman, underestimated and unassuming, had turned fear into safety, chaos into calm, and danger into triumph. She left the cabin quietly, unnoticed by most, but impossible to forget by those whose lives she had saved. Every mission, every skill, every ounce of courage had converged in a moment that would echo far beyond the flight. The SEAL commander had shown the world that heroism wears many faces. Sometimes hidden in plain sight, waiting for the moment to act decisively. Because courage doesn't always wear armor. Sometimes it wears a uniform, carries coffee trays, and smiles while saving lives. As the passengers stepped onto solid ground, the first light of dawn catching their faces, she reflected briefly on the extraordinary normalcy of her role, one that could suddenly become extraordinary in the blink of an eye. True heroism thrives in ordinary spaces, where preparation meets opportunity, and courage chooses action over fear. If this story inspired you, share in the comments a time someone in an ordinary role did something extraordinary. Subscribe for more real-life tales of bravery, skill, courage, because heroes are often hidden in plain sight, waiting for the moment to act.